Hello, everyone. Good morning, good evening. Welcome to Cloud and DevOps real-time training. My name is Manoj. I'm a working professional with 13 years of experience. I'm into IT from last 13 years, and I'm into training from last 8 to 9 years. In my last 9 years as a part-time trainer, I'm working as I'm full-time employee, so I totally have 12 years of experience. I just need to update this. So from last 9 years, I'm also into training as a part-time. That means training is just my passion, and I'm doing it in my part-time out of my passion to teach something the best. And in my last 9 years, I successfully delivered 57 batches exclusively on the DevOps with AWS, Cloud DevOps. And I trained more than 1300 plus professionals across the world, majorly from India, States, and UK. And when I say 1300 plus professionals, and these include people who are already working, who are not working, and who are just job seekers, and who are already working in DevOps, who want to really gain more expertise into this. So my designation is a lead architect. So I'm working as a lead architect. So designation wise, it will be a lead cloud DevOps engineer. But I design things. So I'm into the architectural decisions. So I have extensive experience on design, delivery, all these aspects. Most of my experience is around enterprise grade plus, and in two of my 2 years of my career, I also worked in a couple of startup companies when I was in Hyderabad. Right now I'm working in back. I'm very excited to say the batch that I'm going to cover right now, where you are all started, is my 58th batch. Okay, that means I have completed 57 batches, and I don't deal parallel batches. I only deal one batch at a time. I take one more batch only once it is completed. So what is this course about? How much time it takes, and what are the schedule of these timings? Okay, the duration of the timing. Okay, so the session DevOps with AWS training. Okay, the overall duration of the training is 130 hours. Okay, it's gonna take 3 months of time, 3 to 3.5 months of time, tentatively. And the session timings are Monday to Friday. Okay, from tomorrow sessions are going to start, and the session times are going to be 6 to 7:30 a.m. IST. Okay, this is the structure that we are following, and I've been following this schedule from last 8 years. Okay, so every session will be recorded and will be shared with you as well. And right after the session, 30 minutes of doubts, clarification, or lab queries related thing is also be there. Okay, so that's about it. And what is the session timings? And the session timings are going to be Monday to Friday, 6 to 7:30 India time morning. If you're joining the sessions trainings from India, it will be Monday to Friday, 6 to 7:30 a.m. India time. If you're joining from States, and these timings are in Eastern, Sunday to Thursday, or 5 days a week, 8:30 to 10 p.m. Eastern. If you are in Central or if you are in Pacific, just do -2 or -1 accordingly. Okay, and the session timings are going to be static, and there is not going to be any change unless until there is a note. But 99% of the time there is no change on the schedule. Okay, that's an introduction about myself and the schedule details. Okay, and today's agenda is going to be very simple. Okay, this training focuses more on cloud DevOps, right? So let's try to understand what exactly are we going to learn, and why cloud, why DevOps, how are we unique in the industry? Okay, so work before DevOps. What is DevOps evolution? If you learn the training from me, where I'm going to cover DevOps with AWS, in case in future if you have to work on Google Cloud or Azure Cloud, can I work or not? In tools you are going to learn, and how business used to operate before cloud, and what are the business models that we are going to learn, and what's our approach, and how we are 100% unique with how market is operating, and how close are we to the market needs. That's exactly what we are going to talk. And to start anything, okay, I want to tell you one very important point. Since we are in the session one, okay, which is a demo session, a lot of people would get a lot of questions about, hey, I don't see the mute button. If I want to speak to you, how can I speak? Okay, the effective way of communication is, if one person is speaking, other has to listen. If other person is speaking, one has to listen. And that's the reason you don't get the mute option by default. If you want to speak to me, there is a hand raise option. Select that option. The moment you select the hand raise option, I'll be notified that you want to talk to me, and I'm going to give you an opportunity to talk. Okay, I bet 99% of the questions that you are going to ask are going to be covered in the next 90 minutes or 60 to 70 minutes of the time. So I request you to refrain asking questions for the next at least 30 to 45 minutes because majority of your questions will be addressed. Okay, there is a chat window, there is a hand raise option. You can communicate with me in any of the option. Okay, that's one thing I would like to iterate. So you take any application, it all starts with SDLC. SDLC stands for Software Development Lifecycle. What exactly it is? Why do I need that? Okay, that's something that's all the IT around this. You take any job, not just DevOps or cloud. Anything starts with SDLC and ends with SDLC. So you need to understand a lot of jobs are directly related to SDLC or around SDLC. That means if a job in software industry has to be there, there should be some software developer. And to develop the software, someone has to develop. And to develop that software, and if the application has to be running somewhere, you need to have some infrastructure. Okay, that's where everywhere starts with, everything starts with. For example, I would like to talk about, I want to buy an iPhone. Okay, so typically if you want to buy an iPhone, what you do? Okay, typically you open amazon.com or flipkart.com, which are the leading e-commerce providers in India. For example, I would like to buy an iPhone 15, which is the latest, right? I want to buy an iPhone 15 Pro Max. So I'll just search for it, and I'm interested about buying, okay, black. Okay, black titanium, and I'm interested about 256 GB. I'll come here and I'll select this. Okay, and it's, I can see that the item is sold out. Oh, I don't have an option. So what I'm gonna do is I'll come here and I'll search for something else. Okay, blue titanium. I'm interested about the blue titanium, and see, is also sold out. Now I want to buy something. Why everything is unavailable? So now what I'm gonna do is I'll come here and I'll try to buy something which is there. Okay, so for example, I just don't want iPhone 15 Pro Max. I just want iPhone 15. Okay, and you can see iPhone 14 is there. Okay, so 14, 15 come here. Okay, and right now the value is 70,000. Okay, 70,999, which is officially 71,000, and it's offering in 128 GB, and it is a 15, and I'm getting it in the white color. Okay, and you can also check whether it is being delivered to your pin code or not, and you can see whether you want 256 GB variant or 176 variant. Okay, you can just add it to your cart, and once you have added to your cart, you can place an order. Okay, and before you even place an order, you can come and say whether you even need insurance or not. If you want insurance, you can add it. I don't want insurance, you can remove it. Now I'm gonna place an order. To place an order, you need to sign in. To sign in, you should have an account, and once you enter these details, you are going to enter your delivery address, then you're going to enter your credit card or debit card details for your money to be deducted, or you can also go by the cash on demand, cash on delivery, if you are having a good credit history with the e-commerce portals. That's how you do it, right? The entire software industry is around this. Okay, web application. Okay, so whatever you learn, cloud, DevOps, anything is around application. Okay, so applications. So typically applications are of two types. Okay, one type of application is client application, client based application, and another application is web based application. Okay, for example, what is a client-based application and what is web-based application? So, Mano, this training is about cloud and DevOps. Then why are you talking about application? It's okay. This training is not just about DevOps. This training is about learning the ecosystem. Okay, learning the tools is might be going to give you just a job, but it cannot make you a good engineer. In the long term, you should know how applications work. You don't have to develop and you don't have to repair them. Okay, so let's try to understand applications are of two types. One of the application is client-based application. For example, you take a music player called as a VLC player, and if you want to play any video or any audio on the top of your computer, you need to download a software, VLC player or MX player on your computer, and you need to install it on the top of your computer, right? And this is called as a client-based application. For example, if I want to send an email, I use Gmail. So do I need to install Gmail on the top of my computer? No. For example, if I want to buy an iPhone, so what I do is I'll use flipkart.com. That means this is a web-based application. What is a web-based application? Any application you are trying to access from your browser is referred as a web application. Okay. And the entire business is on the top of it. And this is my interest, and this is what I'm interested about. Okay. And majority 99.99% of the jobs that you apply in your day-to-day life for the cloud and DevOps are almost 99% on the top of the web-based application. And that's the reason in our training, okay, it is a greenfield training. What exactly do you mean by greenfield training? So greenfield training is like, rather than just teaching you Jenkins, cloud and all, we are going to teach you the business first. Okay. So we'll let you know business. Okay. And based on the business, we are going to deliver 2 projects. Just like when you join any company, how you design the things, deliver the things. Likewise, we take a business, we deliver 2 projects, and on the top of these 2 projects, okay, we will implement the technology. Okay, so in reality, it's not technology that comes first, it's business that comes first that drives the technology. Okay, and in our training, as I mentioned, it is a green field training. That means we are going to take projects from the scratch and we are going to implement everything from the beginning. Okay, so as I mentioned, I trained so far 1300 plus 1200 plus professionals. Most of them are job seekers, most of them are working professionals. I have trained everyone. So keeping those context in mind, we're going to start things very basic and we go to quite advanced, and it's a 3.5 months training program. Okay, and me as an engineer, I got 250 plus 5-star reviews on Urban Pro and 250 plus 5-star reviews on Google Pro. And this is a 5-star rated training program. You can attend 1 week of my training sessions and then you can decide the quality and the approach that we are taking. Okay, so you understood that applications that needs to be installed on your computer are called as a client-based application, which this is something that I am not at all interested about, and this is not the market. And applications that are running on the top of servers somewhere, and we are accessing these applications from the browser, are called as web-based applications, and this is the business. And when you get any opportunity, this is where you would be working on, and this is my interest, and this is what I'm going to teach you in the sessions. From week 1 end or week 2 itself, we are going to start working on projects. And by the end of the training, you don't feel that you're just learning. We are very confident that this training gives you a feel that you're already a cloud and DevOps engineer. That's the strategy that we are going to build. Now, I'm accessing this application, right? Okay, I'm accessing this iPhone 14. Okay, I'm just, for example, I'm interested about, okay, RAM. Okay, I'm only interested about iPhone. Okay, Apple, and I'm interested about minimum price that I would like to show is 30,000 and maximum it. Okay, so I'm putting the search criteria. The moment you select the search criteria, the interface that you're seeing is changing. Okay, that means some application is doing some processing and it is showing, right? This as an application is running somewhere in Amazon's. Okay, so for example, if this application has to run, there should be some computing power. That is the reason these applications would be running on the top of a server. What is a server? Server is a very big computer. So the computer that you are using is designed as is referred as a personal computer that is designed for your purpose. Okay. For example, if an application has to be accessed by thousands of people across the world, you need a very big computer. Computers that are designed to be accessible by thousands of users across the world is referred as a server. Okay, server is nothing but a big computer, but that is designed not just for you. It is designed to run the application. Okay, on the top of this server, Flipkart.com application is running. Again, it's not just one server, and we are going to deal on a project with 11 servers, including high availability. 22 servers we are going to. Okay, and to store the data like your username, password, and all these things, you also going to add something called as database. Okay, so one second. Yeah. Okay, it also needs another server, and that server we are going to deal. Let me show you that as well. Okay, for example, you need one more server, and on that server you are going to save the customer data, and that is called as a Flipkart.com's database. Okay, Flipkart.com database. That's why it's taking a lot of time. All right, so this is the database. Again, there are a lot of databases that are there, and just for the heck of it, I'm just trying to show you 2 servers. And these servers needs to be running around the clock, and these are not something you'd be running on the top of some road or unsecured area. You need to run these servers around the clock. Have you ever seen Flipkart down for at least a minute? Have you ever seen google.com down for a second? Have you ever seen youtube.com, which is an web application, down? Have you ever seen maps? It's been down. Have you ever seen YouTube? It's been down. Have you ever seen amazon.com? It is down. These applications are designed to run 24 by 7 round the clock inside the day, inside a private place where your servers are running. And this particular private space is referred as a data center. Okay. So data center is a place where each and every company hosts their infrastructure needed to run the application. So on the top of these servers, you are going to run the applications. Okay. So 99% of, so if I ask you, what is a very famous, one of the highly used operating system? If I ask you, what will be your answer? What is a famous operating system? Anyone? I'll send a poll. Okay. So what is a famous operating system that you are aware of? Okay, let me send a poll. I want everyone to answer. So I'm gonna send a poll. If anyone wanna speak, then raise your hand. Let me send a poll. Yeah, go ahead. People who saw has raised their hand. I just give the option. What is the most favorite? What is the most famous operating system?
Linux.
Okay, anyone else famous? I just sent a poll. You can respond. If I ask you, which is the most widely used operating system, what would be your answer? Anyone? Anyone?
Linux.
Okay. How many of you say? All right. 80% of them responded okay. I just sent a poll to everyone. Anyone? So I just sent a poll. Which is the most famous or widely used operating system in the world?
Windows.
Okay. So I just sent a poll. Take a minute and respond. I'm very interested to know the answer. Based on that, what I would like to speak would be changing. So just want to take a minute.
Windows.
Okay. All right. Okay. 60% of them people said Windows. 40% of the people said Linux. But the answer is 99% of the world's enterprise infrastructure. Linux. Okay. So if you want to become a cloud engineer or a DevOps engineer, the very first thing that you need to know is Linux. And you take any cloud DevOps engineer right now who is in the industry from last 5 to 6 years, they are most of them who are the Linux admins or the application engineers who know Linux, who learned and moved. That means if you want to become a cloud or a DevOps engineer without Linux, it's not at all possible to become a DevOps and cloud engineer. And that's the reason we would like to start with Linux. Okay, so you'll be having thousands of servers. The project that I am working on has thousands of servers. Okay, likewise, you work on any project. Okay, in that project, 90+% of the infrastructure would be on the top of the Linux. Okay, that means to run this Flipkart.com application, you need to have an operating system, and it's going to be running on the top of majority of the times. It would be okay. It would be on the top of the Linux only. Okay, so let's take it. So on the top of this, so Linux is a very beautiful operating system. Okay, so but it everything goes by command. Okay, in Windows, if you want to create something, you use a GUI option, right? You tell an option, it's going to create that. Okay, and likewise, if you want anything on Linux, like you want to shut down the server, or you want to start the server, or you want to create a file, or you want to delete a file. So everything is command, command, command. And that's the reason you can even create a Linux server with 128 MB of memory. If you want to create a Windows server, you need to have a minimum of 4 GB RAM. But to create a Linux server, you just need 1 GB. You can even create a Linux operating system on the top of a server with 128 MB of RAM. That's the power of Windows. Okay, so Linux is open source. That also means you don't have to pay anyone for that usage unless until you need support. Okay, in that space, the most famous, okay, version of operating system. It's all about the flavor. In Linux, there are a lot of varieties. What is a flavor? What is a distribution? I'll talk about it later. Red Hat Linux is the top. So in our training, we are going to start with Red Hat Linux. We'll create a real-time server on the top of AWS Cloud, and we are going to run on the top of it. And why AWS Cloud? Because 70+% of the market's industry is using AWS Cloud, and that's the reason I try to take AWS Cloud as an approach, and we'll be implementing DevOps on the top of it. And if you don't know cloud, that's totally fine. We are going to teach from there. Okay. But if you come with a fresh and open mindset, we're going to teach what is needed from the scratch. All right. So yeah, that's about it. So let me try to go back to the deck, and I would like to show you. So here we are talking about waterfall versus agile methodology, right? Let me try to take a small example. Okay. So I started my career in 2011. Okay. So it's been almost 13-14 years. So the moment I started in my career in IT in one of the big company, I started working as one of the automation engineer on Linux. Within 6 months, that project, it's one of the financial project. Okay. So the project was laid off and I was moved to bench. And later I got to know this project is being in the phase of development. That means customer, the financial company has given the requirement, and that requirement is being built by the software development team from last 5 years. Okay. Then if they are building that much hard, then why the project was terminated in between? Okay. The reason is in 2007, the financial company has given one requirement, and the software development team, they keep on developing. By the time it came to an end, the bank said, the financial company said, oh, this development is going to take 2 more years. The requirement that you are developing, I don't need it anymore because the requirement has changed. Okay. Technology keeps on changing, but whatever the requirement that you want, if it is not delivered on time, people are not going to entertain. Okay. That means the way the software development team develop the software also matters a lot. Okay, that's where software development lifecycle comes up into picture. And if you are coming from the computer science background, you would be aware of what is a waterfall model. Let's try to understand it. Is very important. For example, if a bank wants to digitalize the experience of the customer, like for example, if someone wants to withdraw 10,000 rupees from his bank account, what typically in our childhood we used to do? We used to go to the bank and we used to talk to the clerk to get the withdrawal form, and you'll enter your details and you'll mention the money that you want along with the denomination. Then what you're gonna do, you go and submit this. They'll verify whether you are the person or not, and then they'll give you a token, a metallic token, and you keep the token with you, and they'll wait in the queue, and then they call you token number 10, and you'll go there, and the cashier or the teller will give you the amount that you have mentioned. If you digitalize that experience, what you have to do? The bank will give the customer an ATM card or an automatic teller machine card. And whenever you want any money, you go to the ATM machine, you swipe the card, you enter the PIN code, you tell the money, you tell the denomination, you'll get the money. This process is called as a digitalization of the manual process. And to digitalize the process, you need to have the software developed, right? And to digitalize the process, the bank has to go to the software development company. Okay, the bank has to go to the software development company. And okay, anyone having challenges with my audio? Anyone? I'm giving a mute and unmute option to everyone. Anyone having
No, no,
challenges with my
Manoj.
audio? All right. Thank you,
No.
Raghavendra. All right. So first, if a bank or any customer wants to digitalize the experience, they approach to the software development company, and that they tell the requirement to the software development company. And the requirement is not something they go at 10 o'clock and they'll give the requirement at 10:30, and at 11 o'clock they'll start the software development. No, this requirement gathering itself, it take a lot of time. It's going to take a lot of time. Okay, it is a discussion between the bank management versus the software management and the software architects. They try to understand the requirement, and it goes by months. And once the requirement has been taken completely, if the project is going with a method called as a waterfall method, they freeze the requirement. That means if 1st of Jan 2011, if the requirement gathering has been completed, now the immediate step is, okay, this is step number 1, and the immediate step number 2 is designing. That means this design, whatever the requirements that they have taken, everything will be documented by the technical writers, and then how it has to be developed, what it has to develop, which technology to be used, whether it has to use Java, Python, Go, Node.js, and all these things will be concluded by the design architectural teams or the architects in the organization. And then once the design is completed, okay, that means again after 3 months or 4 months, they'll give it to the software development team, where multiple teams would be there. Okay, a product will have thousands of features, and each and every feature will be given to a separate team, and they start developing it. And once the development is completed, and if the project is in the testing phase, okay, like all these three phases took 3 months of time, 3 years of time. And once the product is almost completed, typically they test the product, right? Just like when you buy a cell phone, you check whether the power button is working or not, whether the flashlight is working or not, whether the camera is working or not, whether the calling feature is working or not, right? So likewise, you also check whether all the features are working or not. In typical software development terminology, okay, testing means, okay, so okay, when I click the login button, this page is coming up or not. When I click on the become a seller button, this is coming up or not. That means whatever the feature that you want, when customer accesses it, whether it is really working or not, that's called as a testing. Okay, that testing will happen. So for example, if the product is already at the development phase, for example, assume that the product is in the development phase, and if the customer come back to you and saying that, hey, I don't want this X feature, instead of the X feature I want to have the Z feature. No boss, it doesn't work that way. And if you stick to the waterfall model, you cannot go back to the requirement addition or deletion or update. There is a major challenge with the waterfall model. And that's the reason, if you remember, back in days, okay, you take Windows operating system. So Windows never used to have updates. I don't know whether how many of you remember or not. Okay, so Windows never used to have any updates. Okay, they used to use a word called as a, for example, if you are using Windows 7, Windows 7 never used to have updates. Every time you used to get Windows 7 X service pack. Okay, so that service pack will give you all the fixes, like if it is having any bugs or if it is having any issues or with the performance or anything. Windows 7 used to release a service pack. That means which is being a product which is developed by waterfall model. For every 6 months or one year, you used to get a service pack, you used to update it. But now you take a Windows operating system, every week you will get a software update. So every time I restart my Windows machine, or at least weekly once, I used to get a message, oh, you got a Microsoft update, Windows update, you want to update or not? Okay. So back in days, software development used to happen using waterfall model. That means you take the whole requirement as a unit and develop it. But there are high chances the product that you're developing would be a failure, and you come to know the result of it only once it is developed. But in agile methodology, it's not like that. Okay, for example, you take, okay, agile methodology goes by constructive feedback loop. Okay, agile methodology, again, all of them are software development methodology. Okay, I'm learning cloud and DevOps. How am I directly related to agile methodology, software development? Do I need to sit code? No, you don't have to. Okay, then why are you teaching me all this? Let me tell you that. Okay, this training is to make sure you become a good DevOps and cloud engineer rather than just an engineer who can do the tickets. Okay, so in agile methodology, rather than developing the whole feature at a shot, you take a small feature and give it to the customer. For example, you take WhatsApp. Okay, WhatsApp is a classic example. So when WhatsApp was introduced, what was the what is the main purpose of WhatsApp? Anyone? Text over internet. Agree? From mobile to mobile. And later, what was the feature that they have introduced? They introduced a feature called as, okay, smileys. Okay, so they created the product and they published it to the market. They felt, okay, this product is really good, but people felt smiley should be there. That means wink smiley, okay, crying smiley, and it went very good. And they got a feedback from the customer saying that why only one has to talk? What if there should be an option where a group of people should be able to talk? group. They created a option called as group with 32 members. And again, they got a feedback. The groups option is very good, but we are having a lot of friends, so we want to increase the limit. So they introduced the feature groups increase to 256. Then it is good. And then later they introduced the feature called the voice call. So it went good. So later they introduced a call called as a conference call, where you can talk more than one person in a call. And then later they introduced the video call. And then they introduced the feature called as a group video call. And if you are in India, in UP, in WhatsApp, after I think 1 or 2 years back, they also introduced a feature called as UPI. And later, some point of time, I think last 1 month or 2 months back, they introduced the Meta AI integration. That means within in the WhatsApp itself, just like how you use ChatGPT or Gemini to ask, hey, what is this, what is that, and all, you can also ask this in the WhatsApp itself. That means rather than just developing the product as a whole, to develop an application, they take the initial base requirement, okay, and they release something called as a MVP. Okay, what is MVP? I'm using a new term, right? MVP stands for minimum viable product. Okay, so this is a new term. Let me talk a bit. So as I mentioned from the beginning, this training is not just teaching you what is cloud, what is DevOps. We are going to teach you business. That's what makes you a good engineer. Okay, so whenever any product is being developed, you take MVP. Okay, that means take the product minimum viable product, minimum viable product. Okay, features that are needed to release it to the public. Rather than me developing the whole product, let me develop a bare basic minimum product, and then I'll release it to the customer. I'll see how they are behaving with the product and whether it is working or not, and I'll try to take the feedback from them, and if it is good, I'll take their feedback and I'll try to add features on the top of it. And if something doesn't look, I'll cut those features. So for example, in 2014 or 15, WhatsApp has introduced a feature saying, we are not going to offer WhatsApp free anymore. You need to pay 50 rupees per month. No one paid. So it was a big failure. They immediately rolled that feature back. So in our training, we are also going to show you how are you going to release new features, and if something doesn't work, how are we going to go back. So here coming back, so we are going to use agile methodology in our training that shows you rather than developing the whole product as a whole, we're going to take a small feature. Okay, we'll plan the product how it works, and we design the product, okay, and then we'll test the product and we'll deploy it into the production. And if it looks good, again we'll start doing it. And this agile methodology happens in multiple iteration, and each and every iteration is called as a sprint. Okay, sprint is a period like 2 weeks or 3 weeks of time where we are going to have a goal and we are going to develop that goal and we'll deliver it. And then we'll demo it. If it doesn't look good, we redo it. And if it looks good, we'll keep on going with this feature. And this is not in use anymore. I mean, there are a lot of companies which are used, but agile methodology is something which is widely used. And even in training, we are going to use this to the core. Okay. All right, guys. Any questions on this so far? Okay. All right. Again, in the beginning, I used a term called as a data center. Okay, data center is a place where we are going to host all the application infrastructure. Okay, so but maintaining as a data center is a very tough job. Okay, how a data center looks like, let me show you that. Okay, how a data center looks like. Okay, how a data center looks like. I could see a hand raised. 1 second. Yeah, Ranjita, go ahead. Please go ahead, Ranjita.
Sir, I am Ranjita. I'm asking question about if we learn AWS and DevOps, we compulsorily need to learn Java or Python.
Not
Any programming language is
no.
necessary?
See, Java, Python, Node, these are different jobs. Okay, Python developer, Node.js developer, Java developer. Okay, those roles are different. Okay, so learning is always helpful. Okay, that doesn't mean that you need to know that. Okay, Java is all the different thing, and to do the Java development or Python development, it's a development team, and you are hired for doing the cloud and DevOps. All right. All right.
Is necessary to learn Python scripting, sir, with AWS and DevOps?
Not really. I don't think
Okay.
it's a big buzz around that, but I don't think any cloud and DevOps engineer really uses Python to develop something.
Because
No,
one of them said like that, told like that is compulsory learn to scripting business.
I
Like
don't know Python. I'm been working in this industry from last 13 years. I never code anything on Python.
okay,
And this is my 58th batch. More than 500 plus
okay,
people got opportunities so far. And that's a myth. I'm gonna show you with proofs. Okay? Don't worry on it.
okay, sir. Okay, sir.
All right.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Perfect. So how a data center looks like. Okay, Google has been in the industry from almost 2.5 decades, and they are one of the best designers of infrastructure. And let me try to show you how Google infrastructure looks like. And maintaining a data center is a very, very, very big, tough job. Okay, so you need to have a private place where you are going to host all the servers, and all the servers will be connected with network cables. And all the servers, since these are the computing machines, they are going to emit a lot of heat. And since they're going to emit a lot of heat, and if you leave them like that, they'll melt and the wear and tear will be gone. And that's the reason to keep the product good. For example, you take any truck, and in the truck engine, okay, you have a cooling system where you are going to fill the water. Okay, right now it's an oil coolant, but earlier in the back end days, in the engine, you used to have a system where you are going to fill the water. And why you are going to fill the water? Because there is a cooling system through water. It's going to cool down the engine. If the engine is not cooled down, it's going to melt at certain point of time. And at the same time, the wear and tear of the vehicle will be extremely diminished, and it gets a bad mileage due to the extreme heat. That means you need to cool the system. Do you really think software companies are offering you air conditioning system to make you more comfortable? No, you are going to use a lot of computers, and the computers that you use go for hung, and if they are not cooled, and if they are beyond the temperature, and that's the reason to maintain a very good environment, work environment, they're going to offer you very good cooling systems, right? So likewise, maintaining a data center is a very tough job. Okay, the mission critical applications that you are going to run are going to be running on the top of the servers. So maintaining the data center is a very tough job. Why? Okay, so back in days, if you want to run any sort of application, okay, you used to have a lot of things. Now, okay, why back in days starting a company is a big deal, but now why it's not a big deal? Let me tell you that. Okay, so the data center requirements are okay. So if you wanna, let's assume your company, you're working in a company, and where as a cloud and DevOps engineer, we are also going to work on certain application which will be running on a data center. Let's assume. Okay, and a lot of people are thinking with cloud there is no server. No, that's not true. You are not maintaining a server, but companies maintain on behalf of you. Cloud companies maintain behalf of you. Okay, so let me try to show you that. Let's assume in the data center you have a lot of servers. For example, if you are running Flipkart applications on the top of it, do you really think that what if some stranger enters into the data center, and if you remove the cable between them, what will happen to the application, guys? Obviously it fails, right? That means the way you design the data center should be very, very careful. And for example, I teach classes, and what I do is I maintain two networks in Bangalore. So one of the network that I maintain is ACT, and another network that I maintain is Geo. Can anyone tell me why I maintain two networks? Anyone who is interested? Why do I need to pay two times? Anyone? Anyone?
So if the system down in one of the
Exactly.
data center, then in another
Exactly.
data.
Since I teach classes, network is very much important. That's the reason I maintain a backup. That means even if you want to maintain a data center, okay, so you need to have a dual network. Okay, first, it should be in a private place. This is my first primary requirement. with better security. Again, since it is so secure, I want to make sure round this round the clock, I want to the data center should be guarded so that I don't want anyone to enter unless until who is supposed to enter. And maintaining a data center, okay, so let's have a data center look like data center requirements. Let me tell you why people are heading towards cloud. And if you understand the requirements, you will know that. Okay, so since it is a private place where you are going to buy a lot of servers, okay, so it's a capital investment, okay, invest money in procuring the hardware. So when I say procuring the hardware, I refer to the servers, network devices, and all these things. Okay, it's a very capital intensive thing because you need to invest a lot of amount, right? And air conditioning system, air conditioning 24/7 to maintain the below 18 degrees. Okay, because they emit a lot of heat, and to keep the performance up to the mark, you need to make sure your infrastructure in temperature is up to the mark. Okay, and obviously you cannot say, hey, my flipkart.com is down due to the network outage or power outage. Okay, so you are going to maintain two power sources. That means you are going to pay 2 times, and likewise you are also going to maintain 24/7 minimum dual power source and 24/7 dual network. Okay, so for example, even in case if you are using a Hathway or Act, even if you lose one network, you still need to have the Reliance Jio. Okay, and again, it is a capital intensive task. And the most painful thing is hardware refresh. Okay, I'll ask you one question. What is a hardware refresh? For example, take an iPhone. Recently, iPhone, Apple has mentioned we are no longer going to support iPhone 7. People who are using iPhone 7 or iPhone 8, they have to move to iPhone 10 and above. What does the statement mean? Can anyone tell me that? Anyone? Anyone? What does that exactly mean? Anyone? If any company says we are not going to support this product which we have sold anymore, what does that statement mean? Anyone? Anyone who is interested can answer. What does that mean?
Yeah, my name is Shakir.
Yeah, Shakir.
Yeah, it means that they will not be providing any support, or there will be no parts available if anything's go wrong.
Exactly. That means if you're using iPhone 7 or anything, if Apple has announced that we are not going to support this product anymore because of any reasons, okay, that means if you lose the screen or if your lock button is not working or if the battery is not working, you no longer get the devices. And if they say we are not going to release the software versions anymore for it, that means you don't get the software updates anymore. That means your device is vulnerable. Likewise, even in hardware, okay, you take any company, for example, you take Lenovo laptop or Dell computer, you take any computing device. When you buy, for example, in 2015, if you buy this hardware, it doesn't mean that it's going to work for the next 100 hours or 100 years. Okay, so each and every hardware when you buy, they say we are going to support this product for the next 5 years or 8 years or 10 years, and after that you need to upgrade your hardware. That means you need to buy new hardware and replace this. And if you have one server, that's fine, but you will be having thousands of servers in the data center. That means for every 8 years or 9 years you need to change the entire hardware. Okay, so a lot of companies, okay, wherever you see cloud migration projects, or we are migrating to cloud, or our project we are going to start operating on the top of cloud, that means either they are moving to cloud due to hardware refresh. That means the hardware that they have is coming to the end of life and they don't want to use it, and instead they want to go with cloud. So when they say cloud, you don't have to maintain this data center, you don't have to maintain the network, you don't have to maintain power, you don't have to maintain the service. Okay, the cloud provider here, Amazon, Google, Azure, are going to make sure they buy hardware on behalf of you and they are going to rent it for you. Okay, and you are going to pay them based on the usage. Okay, that's called pay as you go. Okay, so that's the reason why a lot of companies are going towards cloud. Okay, so again in the cloud there are some service models which we call them as, okay, which we call them as infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, software as a service. Again, I don't want to talk more about it, okay? But the major purpose of the cloud is they invest hardware on behalf of you, and they are going to lease it for you, and you're going to pay based on how many number of seconds you have used their hardware. That's exactly the business of cloud is going to operate. Okay, now the very next important that I would like to talk about is why huge number of jobs are around cloud and DevOps. Let me talk about it. You take any data center, a lot of people are saying, okay, there are more number of jobs in cloud and DevOps. How? Why? Let me talk about it. Okay, this is very important. Okay, why conventional jobs like admin jobs, network jobs are losing? Okay, so let's assume, okay, this is a data center. And typically, okay, let's assume this as a structure. And in the structure, okay, for example, let's assume is a data center. Typically on the in data center, what you'll have servers, switches, network devices, routers. All these things will be there, right? So let me try to write what are we going to have. Okay, on the top of this, you're going to have servers. Okay, so again, these servers should need some storage, right? To save some data, you need to have some storage, right? So copy this. Okay, typically you'll also need, okay, storage. All right, carefully listen. I'll give you a very short explanation of why huge number of jobs are around cloud and DevOps. Okay, typically storage. Okay, each and every server also needs some storage, so you also need to buy storage. And to connect all these servers, both storage, all these things, to external to internal, you also need to have a network. And the reason why we are doing all these things is to run application. That's the whole idea, right? Flipkart.com. Okay, all of them are applications. Now to run this application, okay, and on the top of it, you are going to run the applications. And to check whether the applications are working or not, if any of the application is down, okay, you need to have a NOC team. Okay, NOC team, Network Operations Center. Okay, that's a team which monitors your entire stack. Okay, so you also have one more team which is going to monitor the applications are working or not, and this is called as a NOC team. If you call it as an NOC team, if you call it as an ops team, okay, but end of the day they monitor your applications. Okay, so typically this data center will be managed by a team called as the ops team. Okay, ops team, that means these are a set of people who are going to stay in the data center, okay, who is going to monitor the servers, everything is working or not, all these things, okay, in each and every company. And typically these servers are maintained by the Linux admin team. Okay, and storage will be maintained by a separate team called as a storage admin team. STG. And this network will be maintained by another team called as the network admin team. Okay, let's assume how many jobs are here. Okay, and applications, typically applications okay, are maintained by the application team, or it's also called as the middleware team. And this one, this NOC team is also called as the monitoring team. So with cloud, you don't need these many teams. That means you don't need to hire these many employees. If you hire someone who know cloud DevOps, that means the training that we are going to teach you can make you ensure you can do any of these jobs. So if you hire a single cloud DevOps team, okay, what is going to happen? Okay. However, since it is maintained by the data center, you don't need to have a ops team, right? You don't need to have an ops team. It's one thing. You don't need to have an ops team. And network Linux admin team you don't need, because typically a cloud and DevOps engineer is expected to know Linux. So you don't need one more guy who does that, right? Now, to maintain the storage, typically the storage devices and all these things you don't have to maintain, because these will be maintained, by the same cloud provider. So your role is nothing here. You don't have to do anything. That means typically you don't need to hire a storage team to do the storage task, because the cloud provider is already going to do the same. Okay, let me try to take from here. Okay, you take a network guy. You don't need to really set up the entire network, because you're not even maintaining your data center, and you really don't need an experienced network admin. The network administration that I am going to teach you in this training itself is enough. Okay, and typically middleware team, you really don't need a dedicated middleware team to maintain your applications. Again, it will be done by the same cloud and DevOps team. And monitoring team, you don't need a physical monitoring team, because we are going to do the monitoring automation, saying that if this issue comes up, ping this guy. If this issue comes up, they ping this guy. You monitor this application. So earlier, these many teams are going to be involved, but with cloud and automation in place, a single team called as a cloud DevOps team can handle everything. And that's the reason in IT, you're seeing a lot of jobs around cloud and DevOps, and the conventional jobs around admin jobs, you're not seeing them anymore. And that's the reason why there are huge number of jobs in the cloud and DevOps. So if I learn cloud and DevOps, if I just learn cloud like AWS, will I get a job? If I just learn DevOps, will I get a job? The answer is no. You need to learn cloud and DevOps in a project oriented approach. And that's the reason we are going to teach this training in a cloud and DevOps approach. Okay. Now I'm going to show you. Now I'm going to show you what are all we are going to cover as a part of this training. For example, you take roadmap.sh. Okay. DevOps. If you learn this, at least 90% of what they say you can apply for any role. Okay, so what they are telling, if you want to become a DevOps engineer, first what they're saying is you take any operating system, and in this the preferred thing is Linux. And if you see this FreeBSD Linux, whatever you see in the purple or green are something that are required. Okay, and if you see this in the blue, Red Hat is highly advised. Yes, we are going to cover, and all these topics we are going to cover. And in the version control system, we are going to learn Git. And centralized version control system, we are going to get the GitHub. And there is a technology called as a containerization, and in that containerization, Docker is famous. We are going to learn that, and we are going to cover forward proxy, reverse proxy, firewall, caching, load balancer. Yes, we are going to cover. And in the network protocol, we are also going to cover Nginx, Tomcat, and Apache. All three we are going to cover. And they are talking about cloud providers. You can either learn AWS, Azure, or Google Cloud. If you learn one cloud, you can work on any of the cloud, because end of the day, they operate the same way. Okay, and in the monitoring, you need to learn either Loki or Elastic. We are going to cover Elastic Stack. And for automation, you should know either Ansible or Configuration Management Chef or Puppet. Ansible is recommended. We are going to teach you that. And in the CI/CD, GitLab CI and Jenkins is widely used, and we are going to use Jenkins. And in the CI/CD tools, we are going to cover Jenkins. And in the infrastructure monitoring tool, we are going to learn Prometheus and Grafana. They are teaching you to tell Prometheus, Grafana, and Datadog. We'll teach you two. And in the Artifactory management, we are going to show you Nexus. Okay, and we are going to talk Kubernetes on the top of Amazon Kubernetes service. Okay, and service mesh is the topic that we are not going to cover. And in the design patterns, we are going to take availability, data management, design management, and cloud monitoring, all these things. And if you look at this, and programming language, if you know Python, Ruby, Go, Java, one among them, it is good, but it really doesn't matter. I'm gonna show you few of the job descriptions in India states. They don't ask you, do you know Python or no? Okay, if they ask you, do you know Python or no, or if they ask you, do you know Go or no, you can say, I'm not a developer, I'm a DevOps and cloud engineer. Majority of the automations that I have done using the bash scripting. Okay, 99%, 90% of the topics that are mentioned in this roadmap we are going to cover. And this is says if you want to become a DevOps engineer, these are the things that you should know. And we are going to cover 99% of it. This is just a proof to demonstrate, are we learning the market needs? Okay, that's where I wanna talks and stress about. Okay, so where this DevOps comes from? We are talking about cloud, server, data center, and all. So DevOps need coding like Python? The answer is no. So main role of a DevOps engineer is he's a person who plays a very critical role in moving the code from lower environment to the higher environment without any downtime. So take the code from the developer and test it in the lower environment and take it to the multiple environments and take it to the production all the way up without any downtime by using their tools, automation oriented approach. Okay, that is the main job. So you also heard about the new terminology called as SRE. SRE stands for Site Reliability Engineer. So where this role comes up, what this role is, what these guys does. So are we going to cover SRE as well? Yes. So typically, if you are working for small companies, both DevOps and SRE job is same. Typically, what SRE does is they do the production-based deployments and they are responsible for maintaining the observability, creating the dashboards, and checking whether the infrastructure is working or not in an automated oriented approach. Okay, that means non-production will be handled by DevOps and production-based deployments will be handled by the SRE team. But this training, we are going to assume that you know nothing and we are going to teach both. Okay, typically DevOps very closely work with the development team to see the development-oriented activities and then deploy it across the board. But SRE is not like that. They are conventional engineers where they work closely with the DevOps to make the production-based deployments. Okay, so if the project is big, the roles are going to be segregated. But in this training, we are going to cover you both. Okay, on the top of 2 real-time projects. And I have shown you the proof. Are we learning the market needs? Yes, we are learning the market needs and we are 99% close to that. Okay, so who can pursue this course? Anyone who is interested and who is ready to give next 3.5 months of time dedicatedly, and if they want to show something change in their career and if they want to move to cloud or DevOps, and if they're really interested, we are here to help you. And how is the market for DevOps? I think from the last 2 to 3 months, not just for DevOps, market is relatively less when compared to last 3 to 4 months. But from October, November, market would be really, really high. But it really doesn't matter to us whether the market is good or not. And if you decided to start something new, okay, you prepare and be ready when the market is up, you just apply. That's it. And what are the services that I offer as a part of the course? That is also something I want to talk. Okay, so every day session will be recorded. Okay, session timings you are already aware, Monday to Friday 6 to 7:30. So each and every session and will be shared. Okay, okay, each and every session will be recorded and will be shared, and after every session 30 minutes of lab queries. Okay, and along with that we'll have a tech channel. Okay, and this is the greenfield training, GitHub with the 30 plus resumes. Okay, so whenever you are going for any interviews, you can show the works that you have done with us, saying that out of your interest, I also done all these repositories. And fourth thing, we will help you building your resume. And we'll share 1,000 plus interview questions. Okay. So these are the things. And again, entire training of 2 real-time projects. Okay. So these are the things that we are going to take as a part of the training. Okay. This is going to be, again, please do not join my training. And if you are someone who just want to learn without practice, my training is not for you. And if you are someone who is ready to practice for the next 3 months, and my training is you. Okay. If you ask me, I told you more than 600 plus people secured jobs after my training. Those are all the people who has practiced the training day in, day out. And if you are someone who is readily interested to learn something that's close to your heart, where you want to move your career to cloud and DevOps, I can help you. Okay. Now I would like to show you, okay, how close are you to the market needs. Okay. DevOps, 5 years job in Bangalore. Okay. Let's see what they're asking. Okay. DevOps in your jobs in Bangalore. See, 13,000 jobs in Bangalore. Let's take few job descriptions. Okay. Accenture, Flatford, Intel. Let's see. Let's see what they're asking. Okay. Let me show you that. And if you see this, this is a position with 7 to 11 years of experience. So if you complete my training, you're equivalent to 5 to 7 years of experience as a professional with respect to the technology. And they're looking for a DevOps engineer, the minimum 7.5 years of experience. Okay, good to have skills. Minimum 7 years of experience is required. And what are they asking? They're asking for work from office, and they're looking for someone who has knowledge on DevOps and who can use Azure DevOps or DevOps. Okay, so Azure DevOps is just a tool. Instead, we are using Jenkins, but we are also going to teach YAML. And who should know Terraform, Ansible, Docker, Kubernetes, CI/CD methodology, AWS or Azure. And they're also looking for someone who should have this Kubernetes skill set, Terraform skill set, and Ansible skill set. And if you see this, majority of tools that they're looking, we have applied. Next, let's go for this. Okay. And this is another company, and the company name is Platform Solutions. And what they're asking, they're looking for 2+ years of experience in DevOps. They should know Docker, Terragrant, Docker Cube, okay, and CI/CD pipelines, Git. And they're also looking for agile methodology. Yes, we are going to do, and CI/CD development like GitHub Actions or Jenkins. Yes, we are going to cover it. Okay, but they are asking for experience with RESTful APIs to make the Postman calls, but they are not really looking for you to develop any applications. Yes, we are going to cover it. And Terraform, we are going to, trust me, if you want to become a cloud and DevOps engineer, you should know Terraform. And if you don't know Terraform, and if you are not ready to learn Terraform, trust me, this is a question of rejection. And we are going to learn Terraform to the core. 40 hours of training is exclusively on the top of Terraform. And if you learn Terraform through us, it's equivalent to someone who can directly apply into the production environment. So that means whatever the content that we take, 85+% we are close. So for example, you take another one. Okay. So here we took 4 formal training, AWS, JCP, Azure, containerization. Yes. Hands-on experience with cloud infrastructuring tool like Terraform, Pulumi. Yes. Proficiency with Python languages, Python, Golang, Java. This is not really needed. Okay. You can mention that I am good with programming, not programming language, but I'm good with, okay, bash scripting. You can say that I automated a lot of things, but whatever Python do, I can do it with Ansible. You can also say that. And strong experience with Splunk, Grafana, and Prometheus. We are going to cover DevOps methodologies, Artifactory, okay, cloud engineering, and all these things we are going to cover. Okay, these are the list of things that we are going to cover as a part of the training, which is quite, okay, which is what is being asked in the industry. All right, guys. So yeah, this is what it is. So if you learn the training and if you practice them in an approach that we are looking for, and this is another thing, and this is also for 3 to 5. This is a mid-level role, and this is for Accenture and India, and it is for the DevOps engineer. And if you look at this, they are looking for CI/CD, Jenkins, AWS, Azure, okay, CI/CD pipelines, Docker, Swarm. So this is something 100% we are close to what is being asked by them. All right, this is for all those who think that they should know Java to become a DevOps engineer. No, that's not true. All right, so with that note, I would like to give you guys an opportunity to talk. And before we end the session, I just want to make sure. So the meeting link remains the same. Whatever the meeting link that you have used, it still remains the same. From tomorrow, sessions are going to start by 6 o'clock. Okay, 6 a.m. in the morning, 6 to 7:30, 1.5 hours per day. Okay, 6 to 7:30, 1.5 hour per day is the training duration, and the meeting link remains the same. And whosoever has attended the session, and if they have entered the numbers in the form, okay, whatever the form that you're using, okay, so in that form, if you come, for example, if you come here and if you look at this, okay, so there is a number here, right? So if you have entered your number, one name and number, you would automatically get the session recording after the session. Okay, and if you have not, please check with the number which is mentioned on the form that you're using. Okay, every one of you will receive the session recording after the training. All right, and session timings are going to remain the same: Monday to Saturday, Monday to Friday, 6 to 7:30, and if you're joining from state, Sunday to Thursday, 8:30 to 10 p.m. And meeting link remains the same till further notice. And with that note, I'm good. If you are having any sort of questions, it's all yours, and I'm ready to take up the questions. Yeah, so let me take up the questions. Terraform is also covered, right? Yes, we are going to cover Terraform to the core. You can even apply for certification, and it's close to the production grade. Okay, so what do you mean by moving the code from lower to higher environment? That means this is like any server that is customer facing is called as production, and we really don't touch the production environment directly. We'll have some clone environments. We'll test these things on all these environments. Okay, again, we'll cover all these things in the upcoming session. Will you cover EKS in detail? Yes, Kubernetes we are going to cover in detail. Okay, all right, so any other questions? Okay, I'm gonna give you an opportunity to talk to anyone who is interested to questions or anything. Feel free to ask your questions. Okay, I just gave the unmute option to everyone. Anyone who is interested can talk.
Yeah,
Will you
hello,
cover
sir.
EKS? Yes. The answer
Yeah,
is yes. Yes,
yeah,
Mohan.
Mohan here. So I just want to know if I have mechanical background and 5 years of, it's been 5 years already. In this case, how we manage the experience things and how we generally,
You
is there
really
some
work.
kind of help?
Okay. You really worked, right, in mechanical?
Yeah.
Okay. See, simple. There are companies who accept you as a fresher, but you can also do one thing. Since you are a working professional, but not really on DevOps, you can also say, I'm a working professional. I work for a mechanical company, and this is my mechanical skill set. And at the same time, this mechanical company is using cloud and DevOps infrastructure. And I was also supporting them in parallel due to my interest. They have given me an opportunity from last 2.5 3 years. So I also worked with the DevOps teams, and I also manage their cloud infrastructure. You can also say the CAD CAM tools or the mechanical tools that are used in my company are hosted on top of AWS. And I'm also actively supporting the development team. This is how you can say. Okay,
Oh, okay. Okay.
because
So,
you're not putting any fake or anything. This is the right way to show.
mhm,
A
okay.
lot of people will say you, okay, put some fake certificate and all these things. Don't do that. Okay, that spoils your life. Don't do that.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
All right. So connect with me. I'll tell you some tips. I'm working as a VMware and Windows administrator. How this course will support me? All right. See, Sunil, you should have a fair idea on what you want. And if you are attending my demo and if you're attending my session, that means you're very sure that you want to move your career to cloud and DevOps. So yes, if you want to move your career towards cloud and DevOps, yes, this course is for you. And since you are already working on VMware, Windows, AWM, you can also say you're already working into private cloud, and VMware is one of the most known private cloud provider along with public cloud AWS with the Linux skill set and AWS skill set. That's a very super hot skill set for you, Sunil. Any certifications we can do, and this course is not designed for certifications, okay, because doing certification is a 1 week job. Okay, this is mostly hands-on practical project oriented job oriented training. If you want, we can help you. That's not a big deal. Any other questions, anyone? What platform DevOps what's platform engineer in DevOps? So typically there are a lot of names. So typically platform engineer is someone who really don't interact with DevOps, but they just maintain the infrastructure. It's also referred as a platform engineer. But typically a lot of companies uses a lot of names. I also worked as a platform lead where my job was DevOps and cloud. So typically name really doesn't matter. So yeah, it purely comes through the context. Yes, Satish, go ahead. Shakir.
Yeah, this is Satish here. Okay.